Hey everyone, this is Mr. Everything, and today I want to do a video on, or just titled Sim Racing for 2020 under $1,000. Now the $1,000 number is just kind of arbitrary because it sounds good. I mean, maybe it's 900, maybe it's 1200, I don't know. It's just in the ballpark, and it depends on inventory and the deals and if you want to buy new or used. But there are two things that I want to stay off the bat. Two factors that I'm not counting, and that is one, a monitor or a TV, and two, a game console or a PC. Now, because there's just, to put it simply, there's just no way that you can do all of that for under 1,000. That's just not happening. And I think most people already have a TV or a monitor, and I don't know the specifics, but I would assume most people that want to get into sim racing are already gamers. Maybe there are some, and I'm sure there are some, that just have no technologies, they just want to get the whole shebang. And it just simply, you'll just have to spend more money. Now the gear for sim racing itself, you can still go by this guide, but I feel like you have to pick what you want. Do you want console or PC? But aside from that, then you'll need a TV or monitor. And but I think most people would already have that. Now you might not have the best PC, but I wouldn't build a big expensive PC just to do sim racing if you don't know if you'll like it. But if you already have a gaming PC, there you go. So let me get that out of the way. And secondly, this won't all be static like right here. I'll definitely get some close-up shots, but just while I'm talking, I didn't want to just move it around. Someone will complain it's motion sickness or something. But so I guess the core of this video will be the cockpit, the wheel, and then the pedals, obviously, and the rim come with the wheel. It depends on what setup you go with. But then some accessories, and it'll come down again how you want to do the budget and the availability and etc. So the most important thing, in my opinion, is the cockpit, because that gives you the feel. Now, working with little space here, so I went with the Playseat Challenge. Most of this is from 2014, by the way, so that's just the equipment I'm using. So at the time, I bought it used on Amazon. I think it was like 200 or 220, so it wasn't that much. Now I see it like 3 or more new. Again, it just depends. You might have to shop around. Personally, I'm a bit heavier, to say the least, since I was in 2014. So a better option may be the Next Level Racing FGT Lite. I think that's also $299. It's hard to tell because, again, everything's out of stock on Amazon. I believe the pricing was $299. If it's $399, that's still pushing it, but it is better than this. So if you want something a little bigger and with a little more options, I would go with the Next Level Racing. Now, I think it'll just be easier to get some close-up shots. This is the Thrustmaster TX racing wheel. This is just the TX base. I bought this used in 2014 for like $250. It was a display model because these were known to have problems at launch. So I figured, well, since it's already worked and passed, and the seller said they'd give me another if it failed, and it did fail. So I got this one, and I've had this one ever since. I probably put hundreds of hours on it when I first got this one, and then I haven't used it too much in recent years just because of life, and I don't know, there's so many, for gaming, there's so many other games and stuff. But every time I get this out, once or twice a year, it still works. You can get better ones, but... And then, in my case, I have the Thrustmaster TH8A shifter. I just found that knob in the junkyard, but you get the whole deal there. And then these are the T3PA pedals, which so these were all add-ons. This doesn't come with any Thrustmaster package. Maybe now they sell a bundle, but that's not included usually. Usually you get a 2-pedal set. I wanted the clutch and the conical brake mod. And that's just to help keep this stable on the play seats. That's not a mod or anything for that. And then the leather GT wheel is an add-on. I got that, I think at the time it was $150 new. I got it on Amazon warehouse deals for $100. And if you know anything about the warehouse deals, usually it looks like it's brand new stuff that wasn't even opened or was just opened and they didn't want it. So that's the best way to do it. It's not to just pay retail on all this stuff. Now, one issue, which is, it depends when you watch this video, but since I'm filming it now in a crazy time, I've noticed I tried to price all this stuff on Amazon before I did this video, And unfortunately, almost every single item here is not, that's listed as unavailable, and the ones that they do have are insanely priced. So I don't know if it's because this stuff is a little bit older, they don't sell it anymore, or there's inventory issues because of what's going on, or also likely because of what's going on that people are just looking for another hobby or something and everything's out of stock because there's high demand. I looked on eBay, there's not too much on there, and what they are asking is quite frankly way too overinflated for what the price of this stuff was new. So again, this is just budget oriented, and I'm sorry that I can't give you a nice good pricing for everything, but because of the availability I can't really go. I'm just going off what I paid for this stuff back in 2014, and then I got the shifter and the pedals in 2015, but I think it was still all under $1,000. The most expensive thing is the Cockpit, and the wheelbase should be the next. Depends on if you could get like the leather rim and the pedal package or something. That would make that pricey as well. And let me say, if you can't find this, if it's out of stock or if it's way too much, if you're really focused on budget, you can go ahead and get the Logitech racing wheel, the G29 or the G920. If you're gaming, it depends what console. One's a PlayStation, one's an Xbox exclusive. So those are cheaper. They might be inflated too now because of the demand, and they don't come with the shifter, and their shifter is not as nice. But if you're on PC, you could still use this Thrustmaster shifter. If you're on console, you'll have to get the plasticky, cheaper Logitech. They also have a 3-pedal set. It's probably very similar to the Thrustmaster. That design's been out forever, so I'm sure they have plenty of mods available if you wanted to improve them. And let me just say, if money isn't an option, I would recommend just getting Fanatic. If I could start all over again, which if I sold everything, I guess I could, I'd probably go Fanatic. I prefer a console. It's just I don't want to spend the money on PC gaming. I'm very happy with, consoles can output 4K now. We don't need to get into the specifics, but it's good enough for me, let's put it that way. But now that Fanatic sells the bases that you can, it's just determined by the wheel rim you use. Some wheels are licensed for Sony, some wheels are licensed for Microsoft. They all work on PC, obviously. Most of the bases, they're lower end, but they're still better than Thrustmaster, I would assume. So you could do that. Their pedals aren't as plasticky, they're better made. And their shifter, I think this shifter is a great shifter. I'm not sure if theirs is any better, I've never used it, but that's kind of a moot point. But definitely pedals and wheels are better Fanatic if money's not an option. I wouldn't go direct drive or anything unless you're a seasoned sim racer and that's something you want to put a lot of time and money into. And then I added that Secret Lab pillow. If you do get the Playseat challenge, there's a bar up here and there's not much padding, and your head can push on that from time to time and give you a headache. So anything really could go there. That's just, I made use out of that. And you can see it's definitely a nice looking setup. Since I'm a bit bigger now, I probably would go with the Next Level Racing, or just get it if you want to. This is again budget oriented, but if you wanted just something better, you could just get a regular rig. I would advise not getting a wheel stand though. They are much more affordable, but you don't get the same feeling because you have to add your own chair. And this, you really get a nice cockpit feeling, probably even more so because of the bar here to get on in. And I just don't think that's something you would get with a wheel stand, because when I first got this wheel, I was just using a cheap wooden folding Walmart table that everyone has, and I had to actually get some weights and just hang off the little brace on the back to kind of help keep it down. And it was just such a hassle. I didn't enjoy it at all. The wheel was the same wheel, but just didn't enjoy it. And when I got this, then I just started putting hundreds of hours in because it's just the full experience, Especially, and this is an aftermarket mod I did, so you can mount this shifter because the Playseat doesn't really accommodate a shifter. The Next Level does accommodate a shifter, by the way. And just a really nice experience. And again, I would really love to just give you definitive pricing, but I just can't do it because I'm going off online availability. I don't know how else you could get this. I have seen from time to time on eBay, sometimes someone, they'll say they'll buy this whole thing, they'll never use it, and then they'll sell the whole thing for maybe $600-700, or they'll just sell their wheelbase and they'll have all this and it'll be like $500-600. That's a good deal. Again, you're buying used and you have to see if they have a warranty, etc. But it's just because of the availability, it's a little bit harder to do this video as precisely as I wanted. It's more of just what I did. I know I didn't spend over $1,000 if you don't count game consoles and TV, which I already had. So let me say in closing, I paid $299 or $220 for this. I paid $250 for the base, $100 to upgrade the wheel rim. At the time, I think at least $100 to upgrade to the pedals, $150 to do this. Now, I'm not good with math, so I have no, watch it be like $2,000, but I think that's under $1,000. I believe the retail on this at the time was $300. I think this was $399, but I could be wrong. This should be nowhere near that. This would be worth $399 with the leather GT and the T38 pedals. Then I could see maybe doing that. And then I think that's still the same price, and I think those are still the same price if you buy those separate. And lastly, to address some packaging, they did have a leather GT edition, which came with all of this, so it would spare you from having to upgrade to the pedals. Because this comes 2 pedal set and a plastic wheel rim. But I haven't seen that on Amazon, so I can't really tell you, how can I recommend it if it's not available. There's also the TMX. If you type in Thrustmaster, you're going to get the TMX. You'll say it's a good deal. Or if you're on PlayStation, you'll see, I think it's the T150 RS. Also, I think 150. You'll think it's a good deal. It's very basic. I'm not sure if it's bungee cord or not, but it's definitely not force feedback belt driven. And it's a plastic 2 pedal set. I would not get those. It's going to tarnish the whole experience, and you probably won't want to stay sim racing. So if availability or pricing is a problem, I would just go with the Logitech, or if you want to spend more, go with Fanatic. But if you can get this whole setup and replicate it, you should be able to do it for under $1,000. I didn't do this all at once. I started out with the base, then I upgraded the cockpit, then I added the pedals, then that, and the shifter last. You can definitely live without the shifter. It just depends what kind of immersion you want and what kind of racing you're doing. Now, in respect to just continuing to ramble on, I'm hoping just that this gave you an idea. This is my setup. It's very good. I would like a better cockpit, but I'm very satisfied with it. I think I'd go with Fanatic if I was going to do it all over, but nonetheless, I mean, this hits all the boxes. This does everything you would want. Not the best, but it gets it all done. It gives you that experience. And again, unfortunately, it'll be up to you to find pricing and how to even get this stuff. Maybe you can find it locally, Craigslist, eBay, maybe something that'll pop up on Amazon. Or if you just want to pay the most, you can go directly to the manufacturer's website and see what vendors they sell it on, if you can still purchase this stuff new. I'm definitely not into sim racing as much as I used to be, and a lot of the sim racing channels that was where I got all my information. They haven't been around for years now. There still are some going, of course, but so it's kind of not the greatest video. I don't have the best information, and it's not as well done, but just if I can help out, that's what you can work with. And it definitely can be done for under $1,000 to get a decent experienced sim racing setup. So thanks for watching, and you'll see me in the next one. Have a good one.